Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome, my dear learners. This is a video for the subject of education intended for the course of Bachelor's in Education, and the paper which is going to cover this module is Educational Technology. The module is Introduction to Educational Technology, and this lecture is based on the discussion on objectives of educational technology and various concepts related to educational technology. This video lecture is recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Dr. Savita Kaushal from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha channels of Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello dear learners, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on the module Introduction to Educational Technology, and here in this lecture the topic of our discussion will be based on the objectives of educational technology and related concepts. In this lecture, we will be discussing the objectives of educational technology, describing other related concepts to educational technology like instructional technology and teaching technology, and will differentiate between technology of education and technology in education. So the first point which we are going to discuss is that what are the different objectives of educational technology. We all know that educational technology in the capacity of technology of education provides valuable help in the total teaching learning process for achieving the best possible results in an economical way through the available human and non-human resources. And in this way, we can say that the major objectives of educational technology can be taken up as the macro level objectives and the micro level objectives. And let us have a look on these specialized macro level and micro level objectives one by one in a detailed manner. Objectives of educational technology at macro level. And if we try to see the broad educational goals, basically that is the discussion of the objectives at macro level, which we are doing. And in terms of educational technology, there is a long list of these type of objectives. The first one which we are going to discuss here is that to identify the educational needs and the aspirations of the community. This is the first and the basic macro level objective for educational technology. Then we have got the next objective, which says that it tends to determine the aims of education, the broad strategies and the structure of education. Then to develop a suitable curriculum with interaction of science, then art, human values, and different type of subject areas and the innate values. All of these are enshrined in the curriculum which interacts, which is implemented to the students. So the development of this type of curriculum is again the task of, or you can say the macro task of educational technology. Then to identify the materials, the resources and the strategies for achieving the stipulated aims of education. This is considered to be the next objective for educational technology at macro level. Then we have the next objective, which says that to develop certain models leading to improvement of the process of teaching and learning. So various type of teaching and learning models are developed here in this area of the field of educational technology. Then, to develop the appropriate aids and equipment to meet the educational purposes. This is again the next macro level objective. Then, to identify major constraints in the environment and the ways and means to tackle these major constraints, because if the constraints will be remaining, then it will be difficult for a person to actually achieve the task, or to achieve the those aims and goals which the person has actually prepared at the beginning. So basically, the tackling of these major constraints is also one of the major objectives of educational technology at macro level. Then, to help in extending educational opportunities to the masses, especially the those section of the society who are neglected, and basically those people who are the part of the community, and they are not haves. So basically, to extend the educational opportunities to masses, that is again a macro task of educational technology. Then, to manage the whole educational system, covering all the basic aspects like the planning, implementation, and the evaluation phase. So this is again the next objective at the macro level for educational technology. After checking out the objectives of educational technology at macro level, let us see the objectives of educational technology at the micro level. And if we try to see the view of a specific classroom teaching, we can say that we are basically considering the micro level or the objectives of educational technology at micro level. And let us try to enlist all those educational objectives which come under the micro level. So the first one here is to identify and analyze the characteristics and educational needs of the students who are basically the part of the classroom. Then, to determine the specific classroom objectives and state these objectives in behavioral terms, so that the change in behavior is which is a very important aim of education at broader level, is going to be achieved inside the classroom. Then the next objective at micro level is to analyze the contents of instruction and organize it in a proper sequence, so that this sequence is going to enable the learner to learn very much properly. And the next objective at micro level is to identify the available teaching learning material and resources. Then, to identify the nature of the interaction of the subsystems. What are these subsystems? Like the students, the teachers, the teaching learning material. Then comes the content. The content which is going to be transacted in the form of instruction, and even the methodology, the pedagogy. So everything constitute a separate subsystem. So whenever we are trying to talk about a system, all these subsystems will come into scene, and we can say that the nature of the interaction between these subsystems is going to say that what exactly will be the nature and the quality of the system which is in work. So every single individual, every single part, or every single subsystem should be working properly if we want to make the system very much effective. And here the educational technology comes into picture, and it helps at every single level. So this is again a very important micro level objective. Then, to plan the teaching strategies and utilize the material, the human resources, the equipped teacher. Basically, the teacher gets equipped by studying, by gathering a lot of material which this teacher is going to use in the classroom. So all these resources which the teacher is going to gather and is going to prepare in terms of achieving the specific classroom objectives. So all these strategies and all these resources again come under the edges of the micro level objectives of educational technology. The next micro level objective is very much tilted toward evaluation. So to evaluate the effectiveness of the classroom teaching in terms of the students' performance or change in behavior, because we consider that this change in behavior is the ultimate aim of education, the change in behavior in the desired way. So that is again because it is considered to be the broader aspect. But to come towards this broader aspect, to complete the goals and to achieve this change in behavior in the desired way, we go for doing a lot of small things. And these small changes, these small strategies, the effectiveness of the classroom practices, everything come under the small scale, or you can say the micro level objectives of educational technology. Then the next is to provide appropriate feedback. Feedback is a must, because if we are evaluating a child, we have to tell him or her that what exactly is the performance level, so that the improvement can be achieved. Or if the child is doing good, then the child will be motivated towards doing better and to do much more better. So these type of feedback, that what exactly is the level of comprehension and what is exactly is the feedback or remark of a teacher, is an essential part. So to provide appropriate feedback to the student as well as the teachers, to bring modification in the teaching learning process, because even the teachers require feedback from the authorities, from the peer group, from the teachers who are teaching in the same school or maybe in the block, or some sort of peer group or team teaching is happening. So one teacher can give feedback to the teaching way or strategies of another teacher, so that each of them are going to improve their teaching learning strategies and the ways in which they work for the betterment of the students. The concept and meaning of educational technology can be made a little more clear if we try to distinguish it from other related concepts. At times, people get confused by different terms that they are synonymous to educational technology, or there are terms which are considered a little bit similar to educational technology. So we will just try to make a delineation between those terms which are at times confused with the meaning of educational technology. The first term which I wish to consider here is instructional technology. Let us try to see that what exactly these two terms actually mean. At times we consider them as synonymous, but these two terms should not be considered as synonymous. Educational technology is a more comprehensive and broad-based concept, whereas instructional technology is a subsystem of the main system of educational technology. Education is a comprehensive process, and imparting of instruction is one of the several means to achieve the goals of education. So it can be considered as a brick or as a part of the entire process, the building. So as a result, the technology of instruction may be regarded as a part and section of the whole phenomenon of technology of education. And if we try to make it peculiarly clear, in a very strict sense, instructional technology is considered with determining and providing appropriate stimuli to the learner to produce certain types of responses for making learning more effective. Let us try to understand this entire phrase which I just mentioned. Basically, the instructional technology determines the media, the methods, and the material that the teacher or the person who is transacting knowledge may be going to use while while having part, like taking part in this a given teaching learning situation for attaining the stipulated instructional objectives. Whereas if we see towards the educational technology scenario in totality, it is concerned, or you can say that the educational technology is concerned with the scientific use of the available human resources or the non-human resources for solving various type of problems of education. And all these problems basically considered to be many, and here instructional technology is one of those many. So, and why this is being done? For the optimization of the results of the whole teaching learning process. So in totality, everything is considered to be the part of educational technology, whereas instructional technology is one of the parts. So instructional technology is a part and educational technology is the whole. This is the basic difference between educational technology and instructional technology. The next term, which is again being confused at times by students or by many of the people, is teaching technology. Like how this educational technology and teaching technology can be confused by people, that they are synonymous or they both are the same. So just like the instructional technology, teaching technology is also one of the subtypes or subsystems of the system of educational technology. Basically, it concerns with the systematization of the process of teaching, and it provides the necessary theory and practice for the teachers to bring improvement in the task of teaching. So the concept of instructional technology is much wider than the concept of teaching technology. Why? Because it is also it is going to include the means and material concerning individualized instructions and self-learning, including teaching machines. What are these teaching machines? All those machines which a teacher is using, like nowadays teacher is using a laptop or a mobile phone or a tablet or anything, a machine which is used by the teacher for making the teaching learning process happen. Suppose the teaching is happening in an online scenario. So the teacher must be using any of the devices so that the class can be taken. Or if a teacher is using in a CAL lab or computer assisted learning system is being used, at that moment again a machine is used. Or in a simple classroom, if a teacher is using a board or just a chalk or maybe a marker, that particular board and marker is also being assistive for this teacher to transact the teaching learning process in a better way. So that can be considered as a teaching machine. Although we normally consider a teaching machine which is having some sort of computer's assistance, the computer assistance. So in this way, the independence of this teacher is basically depending on the machine. At certain times, this machine is also providing certain aids. So the teacher, whatever the teacher is doing, if the teacher is not using any teaching machine, in that case, we can say that even the actions of the teachers, these teachers who are teaching in a classroom, if there is no any assistance provided, then we can say that whatever the teacher is doing for the sort of making the transfer of knowledge from him or her to the students, that can be considered as the part of the educational technology, or that can be considered the way in which the teacher is transacting knowledge can be considered as the teaching technology. So assistance of certain equipment, with assistance or without assistance, whatever the teacher is doing in terms of transacting knowledge of his or her to the students can be considered as the teaching technology. So in the olden days, when there were only teachers and they used to preach and they used to teach the students only by verbal interaction, then also the teaching technology was there. And then came the days when the teachers started using all those tamrapatras and all those different type of material for writing their instructions. And then came the days when the computers were introduced, and uh, even before that, the blackboard and the green board were introduced, and then the computers came, and then the laptops with internet and all those smartphones came. So you can see that there is a kind of evaluation, sorry, the evolution, the evolution in the machines and the assistants to the teachers came, but the teaching which the teacher is doing remained the same. So assistance, with assistance or without assistance, whatever the teacher is doing is considered to be teaching technology. So teaching technology is merely a specialized branch of educational technology, which is meant for the teachers and the teaching process. While education, or you can say the educational technology as a whole, can never be limited merely to the teaching process or the teacher's task which the teacher is doing. Educational technology can never be confined to teaching technology only, because it is going to have a lot of different things. It is much more than merely the teaching or instructional technology. It encompasses each and every aspect. So basically it's a system, and under the system there's a subsystem which is considered as the teaching technology. Now there is a question that what exactly we mean by technology of education and technology in education. So both of the terms are having same meaning or different meaning. We will just have a look. So the term technology in education basically refers to the use of technological advancement, such as various type of equipment, different machines, different type of resources and material for educational purposes. Basically, it involves the increasingly complex range of the resources which are considered to be at times the audiovisual equipment, and the hardware and very sophisticated electronic devices. Like normally we use television, we use the projectors, teaching machines, we use a lot of computer aided instructions. We also use radio, um, video programs, or different type of films for certain type of instruction, for providing instruction, for individualized, and even for group learning. So the term technology in education in this way can be considered as a service, or the concept like technology in the service of farming or agriculture, or science in the service of mankind. So let us just have a look in a very crisp way, that if we are talking about how the service of farming or agriculture or science is basically for the service of mankind. In the same way, technology in education is also is a kind of service. The technology is providing a service for the area or for the entire process of education. So in this sense, educational technology can provide its services to the teachers on the different grounds. So there are various grounds in which the educational technology can provide its services to the stakeholders, and the primary stakeholder can be either the student or the teacher. So let us see that how the teacher is going to get all these services. The first thing which the teacher can get assistance with is for explaining the purposes and the functions of different forms of appliances, equipment, all those resources or audio visual material, and even the mass media. So how the things are going to be functional. If things are provided, all these equipment are provided, how the things can be used by the teacher. So for this purpose, the explanation is very much required. So here the educational technology provides its service, and the explanation and all those understanding, maybe by the written text or maybe by different type of audiovisual material, it provides. Even there are mass media related programs on radio, that how to use this and how to use that, and this is something which provides assistance to the teachers, how they are going to lead the information ahead to the students, how they can make it explicitly understandable to the students. So for making it explain, they first have to understand it properly, and then only they can go and transact that particular knowledge of anything to their students. So that is why it is very much essential for a teacher to understand uh, the entire process. And here comes the educational technology. It provides a lot of assistance. Then for providing training in acquiring the material and handling the equipment to overcome the reluctance to use new media and material. We all have seen that if there is a small machine or a small equipment is given to us and we don't know how to operate, it becomes a difficult deal to actually to run this equipment, or how to work with it. So basically, once we are handing one device to a teacher, we should also be providing some sort of training or some sort of assistance to the teacher, that how this teacher is going to use or operate this machine. So that is again somehow uh, the providing a training for the handling of this equipment, which is provided to a teacher, which is a product of new media or digitization. That is again the task of educational technology, or basically technology in education, so that the teacher is in a position to actually use the equipment in a proper way. Then for showing the relevance of the use of the equipment and the material in the context of individualized and the group learning for achieving the goals of formal and non-formal education. So the if something is with you or with me, I have to see that what is the significance of that particular equipment or the resource for making me a better teacher or making you a better student. So that is something where we have to know the relevance of that particular equipment in a proper way, and that is something which technology in education basically does. So these are few of those services which are provided by the technology for the sake of making teachers much more abreast of what exactly they are going to do in terms of the usage of technology in their classrooms. Then the next term is the technology of education, and it can be said that it is synonymous to educational technology. It cannot limit itself to the role of service as confined in the case of technology in education. The term technology of education does not represent something added or helped from outside, as sounded in the case of technology in education. We have seen a lot of things which are related to educational technology. And while making a conclusion that what exactly technology of education or educational technology is basically is, we will be concluding few of those points which will be making clear that what exactly is the concept of educational technology. So educational technology cannot be taken as a synonym to audiovisual aids, and technology in education emphasizes the concept of service. What exactly is this service? The use of different equipment, gadgets, and mass media. Then educational technology must mean technology of education, presenting itself as a system for bringing improvement in the total process of teaching learning by carefully analyzing its problems and recognizing all available resources in an economic way for obtaining the optimum results. The next point which can be concluded is that educational technology cannot be viewed in terms of its parts or the processes. Instructional technology, teaching technology, behavior technology, programmed learning, micro teaching, system analysis, management of teaching learning, teacher or pupil behavior, and many more. All of these are few of the constituents and resources which are the part of educational technology. So it's a very broad umbrella term, and not a single one of all these, whatever I have just took the names of all those, alone is enough to represent the concept of educational technology. So if we say that only teaching technology is educational technology, it will not be a correct thing to mention. So each and every aspect is going to come and join their hands in terms of making a proper definition or a proper meaning of educational technology. So all of these in totality can be considered as educational technology. All these branches, innovations, all these approaches, strategies, all of them should be integrated as a whole and according to the needs and requirements of the system. They all are going to represent the educational technology at a particular time in a given situation for accomplishing its useful objectives. So to complete the objectives, to fulfill the objectives, each and every aspect of educational technology will come together, and they will be making a system, and that system is going to work for what? To achieve the objective of education in the stipulated time and in the amount in which it is required. So in this way we can say that in totality educational technology is going to play a role where all the parts will come together and work together in order to fulfill the goals of education. So with this, now we have reached to the end of the lecture. Let us just have a quick recap that what we have studied today. Educational technology works for the attainment of its objectives, both at the macro level and the micro level. On one hand, in the attainment of the objectives at the macro level, educational technology helps in general in the planning, organizing, execution of all the programs and activities related to the system of education. And on the other hand, at the micro level, it helps the students and teachers in a particular teaching learning situation for the realization of the classroom instructional objectives. So basically, micro level works uh, at the initial level, in the classroom level, in the classroom instructions and all, and at the broader level where the planning and organization and how it is going to be, the strategy and everything is being planned, at that stage the macro level objectives work. Then we have seen that educational technology is quite comprehensive and wide in terms of its nature as well as form. It cannot be treated merely as synonymous to the terms audiovisual technology, basically utilization of programmed instruction technique or computer assisted or managed instruction. All these are separate terms. They are not synonymous to educational technology at all. Similarly, the terms and concepts like instructional technology, teaching technology, behavior technology cannot be equated with the term educational technology. These are the constituents and subsystems of the system of educational technology. Educational technology, in its application and utilization, always tries to make a wise use of all the components and the subsystems at its disposal in a given situation for the effective realization of the stipulated educational objectives. And that's the sole task of, or you can say the cause of educational technology on which it works. So we can consider that it is a very broad umbrella term, a system which encompasses a lot of subsystems which come together to meet the system which assists the child, the teacher, and the other stakeholders of the society who are the part of this educational system to complete this or to make the process of education successful. So in this way, uh, the objective and the important terminologies of educational technology has come to an end. These are few of those references and the suggested links which you can go through. These were used while preparation of this lecture by me. You can also go ahead and see all these links and the books for enhancing your knowledge. And for this time, thank you so much. Let us see each other in another session where we will be discussing some other aspect of educational technology very soon. Thank you so much. Dear learners, you were watching a video from the module of Introduction to Educational Technology. And here in this lecture, we discuss the objectives of educational technology and the various concepts related to educational technology. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the homebound situation of COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.